Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. So, let's start off with Tripp and Chanel for a minute because I'm going to be completely honest. I get that this is a fantasy, and I get that, they don't really want a lot of bad blood and grudges being held and everything like that. But I feel like the way that Tripp has been going about this whole oh, I want Ali to be happy, even if it's not with me. And now he's not there like, oh well, you're not gonna get any sort of any sort of pushback from me. I'm on your side. I'm in your corner. And I'm like, let me get this straight. You're telling me the woman that wound up sleeping with your girl and cheated, wound up messing around with your girl and wound up sleeping with your girl. You're telling me that you're in her corner? Like, seriously? That actually makes sense to you? I mean, it's one thing to, I guess it's one thing to forgive, which I don't even understand how you really can, but it's another thing to sit there and act like, no, we're just really good friends, and it's like, what? In what scenario would that ever actually make sense? And again, I get it, it's a soap opera, it's fantasy, but it gotta be based off of some semblance of realism, Like, people aren't just gonna be that so PC and just so, willing to sit there and just be let bygones be bygones. You act like she just stepped on your shoes or something, like, oh no, it's no big deal. You bought breakfast, so it's okay. It's like, no, she literally, kissed your girlfriend when y'all were together, and then she slept with your girlfriend, and now you're sitting there saying things like, "Don't worry, I'm still gonna be in your corner." It's like, what? No, I'm sorry, but that it really just does not work for me at all. Now Chanel asks us a question as far as like, do you really want to give up on her? And it's like it's kind of a no brainer at this point. Tripp literally said, like, yo, listen, if I go back out with her, I never know if she's gonna want to be with me or if she's, feel like she's obligated to be with me. And that's no way to sit there and live. That's no way to sit there and live and be in a relationship where you can't really trust that person to want to be committed to you. So, I mean, it was kind of a no brainer, and I'm glad he just kind of just threw himself away from that whole situation. I just wish he wouldn't be so, buddy in with Chanel. I mean, I like their friendship, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there were lines that were crossed that I feel like it should take a lot longer to mend and just, that's cool. Um, Now Will comes over talking to Allie, and one of the things they talk about is Chanel. And Allie at this point is like, she doesn't know she should try to go out with Chanel because Johnny wants to go out with her. And if this whole devil possession thing has taught them anything, is that they still love each other, and that maybe it's just better to just let them try and be together, as opposed to me ruining his happiness because it's what I want. But Will more or less is just like, nope, you should do it. I mean, yeah, I get it. He's your brother and everything like that, but he tries to justify it by saying that you know you should be honest with Chanel and give her all the facts and let her make up her mind. And I'm like, on that level, I'm like, all right, that makes sense. But I'm also just like, bro, you do realize that Johnny is also your half brother, and you shouldn't be sitting there. Like if Ali wants to sit there and back off to, have her brother be happy, you should kind of support that, not being like, no, you should sit there and go after her too. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just, I mean, I guess in reality, he can't sit there and vote for one sibling over the other, so there's a conflict there, but I guess what he said makes sense. So I'll drop it. Now, EJ was talking to Johnny, because Johnny was like, he had to come downstairs because Abby and Chad has been going at it for, well, you can't get any right. So he goes down there, and he talks about Chanel and how he wants to sit there and kind of back off for a little bit, but EJ's like, that's a bad idea. you know, he felt like he didn't fight. He felt like he didn't fight hard enough to be with Sammy, which is like kind of odd because I'm like, bro, she cheated on you and you treated her like dirt. Which I mean, listen, I'm not a fan of EJ treating Sam like dirt on a regular. When he first came into town, he pretty much like, "Where's my wife? Like, where's my property?" So I wasn't exactly a fan of that, but I do understand the anger and the hurt um, that Sammy caused him. Um, so I was all for that. Maybe not the calling her a whore part. I feel like that might have been taken a little bit too far, but I feel like the anger was definitely justified. But now he's sitting there telling Johnny like, "Yo, listen, you don't want to sit there and have any regrets like I did. Like I did." And Johnny hears that and he's like, "You know what? Listen, I should fight for her." So Chanel, I guess, is at the bakery or whatever, is in town square, and which is odd because Leo and Sonny was also in town square, but I don't really understand how that worked out. And it's weird because like one is like night and one is day. Anyway, Allie finds Chanel and first she wants to ask for her job back because she's like, yeah, technically I wasn't me that wanted to quit, so could I have my job back? And Chanel says something, but Allie's like, no, I'm not just here for that. I wanted to give us another try, and I'm just like, bro, you you move at light speed when it comes towards this relationship thing. Like, Tripp dumped you because you cheated on him. In less than 2 weeks, you decide you want to go out um with Chanel. Less than 2 weeks, you decide you want to go out with Chanel. Oh, I know it's usually a bad idea to have a rebound relationship, but let's have a rebound relationship. You wanna give us a try? What? And then she goes into the room with Tripp, and Tripp is like, he still loves her and everything like that. And she says that she loves him too. Like, okay, maybe I want to sit there and be with you. But when Tripp is like, well, do you just want to be with me, or do you also want to be with Chanel as well? He winds up breaking up with her. Well, he winds up just ending things with her, and she's all angry and hurt and upset. And you would sit there and think that a normal person would just process that for a little bit. You know what? Let me just kind of sit on these. Let me just kind of sit for a minute. Let me just really just sit before I start making another rash decision. Nah, yo, let's go out. Let's give us another try. What? Okay, Ollie. Sure. Why not? At this point, why? Why the hell not? I mean, the sad part. I mean, granted, I get that she didn't know about these films, but I feel like when she kissed Chanel the second time, she should have took a break from Trip. She should have literally took a break from Trip because all that heartache could have been avoided if she just would have stopped for a minute, process her feelings, and be like, you know what? Listen, this kiss wasn't just a normal kiss, and I kissed her back. Maybe I should sit on this. But instead, she jumps from one person, she jumps from that person, then she wants to sit there and think about being with this person, and things, and then she wants to go back to this. Like, bro, what are you? I mean, seriously, what's the thing say that she wanted to going out with Chanel, and then she decides to change her mind again? She's just like, oh, you know what? I want to be with somebody else now. Like, can you really sit there and trust somebody who's just that back and forth with their decisions? So yeah, Sonny winds up meeting up with Leo, and Sonny is really upset about the whole drugging thing. And he's like, oh, well, listen, I'm going to sit there and get you arrested. Once I call my Aunt Kayla to sit there and do the drug test and everything like that. Now, my whole thing was like, he probably shouldn't have said that that was his aunt that was doing the drug test in the first place because he could have sat there and used that against him. He could have been like, you know what, listen, his family could be very biased towards me, and you need to sit there and run it again or whatever. I felt like there would have been so many ways for him to sit there and just kind of mess that up. But he didn't have to, because when, Sonny got back the results from Kayla, whatever was in the system was gone. And Leo's just sitting there smiling the whole time because I'm like, bro, you really think that he was not gonna sit there and get that tested? And like he knew that you were gonna do that and made sure that he wouldn't get caught. I mean, he literally was putting his fingerprints all over what he did to you. I mean, he really thought it was that easy to sit there and take down Leo. So of course, when Kayla was like, "Hey, we can't find anything," and Sonny's getting all upset. Now I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm like, Sonny is yelling at him. He's like grabbing him a little bit, and Leo is just goading him. He's just goading him at this point because I'm like, bro, listen. The minute that you put hands on Leo, it's assault, and you're going to jail. You know, he already got his revenge with you, and he's goading you into this fight. And now, granted, he's yelling at the top of his lungs, and there's people that surround. So now you got witnesses, and now you're grabbing on him and everything like that. One hit, and that's Sonny's ass. And I'm just looking at this whole thing like, bro, what are you doing? So he's all like, oh, well, I'm going to sit there and get you. You go after this, that, and the third. I was like, bro, listen, no offense, but your threats are just empty as hell at this point. Just take the L and move on. Leo literally said, listen, I wouldn't be coming after you. You wouldn't even be on my radar at this point. If you didn't sit there and stick your nose where it didn't belong. Because at the end of the day, he didn't know Craig. And for him to sit there and be going so hard, this was a matter of revenge. And if he honestly thought that he was going to get revenge on Leo, and Leo not being the spiteful, petty person that he is to come back as Sonny, then you're an idiot. I don't understand how anyone would sit there and trust you to run a company, um, let alone anything else. Now, Chad, after I guess going about 8 to 10 rounds of trying to make a baby, Abby's sitting there talking about Sammy and the disappearance and everything like that, and she wants to sit there and investigate it. She wants to sit there and investigate the disappearance of Sammy, and Chad is like, it's such a bad idea because it's going to expose me and everything like that. So he's trying to kind of shut that whole thing down. Oh, do you really think that you're going to be able to find anything anyone else didn't? Oh, whoever sat there and kidnapped Sammy, they could be very dangerous, and you might be pregnant at this point. Just doing all sorts of things to sit there and try to stop her from looking into, the disappearance of Sammy. Now, they kind of table the talk, but you can clearly tell that Abby is not letting this go. Abby's not letting this go, and Chad's gonna have to sit there and work overtime. Now, on the other side, you got Lucas that's talking to Kate. And Kate more or less is like, yo, listen, just so you know, I mean, you might be clear for now, but Chad and his conscience, I kind of got him to back down, but I don't know how long that's gonna last, and these secrets eventually come out. Um, Lucas really thinks he's in the clear. I mean, how he even said that he convinced Sammy that even though that EJ was not found guilty, he pretty much is like, listen, just because the courts didn't find him guilty doesn't mean that he's not guilty. So for the most part, he seemed like he managed to snow Sammy. But Kay's like, listen, if she finds out, she's not gonna forgive you. On top of that, you're gonna go to jail if you don't get killed, or probably both. Along with Chad at this point. So he's all stressing out. He goes outside. He runs into EJ. Um, which is kind of odd because I'm just like, EJ, could you just like, I don't know, do Grubhub or have Chef make something? Why do you feel the need to actually go to Brady's pub for? Like, why? Man, I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm sitting to think about Brady's pub. I'm sitting to think about when Bella gets together with EJ and how Roman's gonna take it because that's going to be hilarious. I can't wait for that. I really, 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 really can't because I know that Rome didn't like EJ, being with his daughter, being with Sammy. I know he didn't like that. So can you imagine? I mean, granted, Bella isn't. Hmm, I guess. I guess maybe he wouldn't have really had much of a problem. But I know John Black would. I know John Blackwood. Oh, I can't wait to see that. That is going to be so worth it. I feel like that's about it for the most part. I don't think I really left anything out that was too important. I don't know. This episode wasn't really that great. I mean, we waited like 2 weeks. I mean, we waited because it only came on twice last week, and then for like 2 days after that, it didn't show back up. So after all that wait, Monday, it's like, this episode wasn't really super great. I feel like you can skip this one, to be honest. Um, yeah, I feel like you can kind of skip. I feel like you can skip this episode. But with that being said, you know what? I do want to sit there and talk about something real quick. Now, as everyone knows at this point, Bo is supposed to be coming back with Hope. And I feel like at this point, people are going to be disappointed. People are going to be disappointed. Okay? Because when news came out that Bo's coming back, I mean, he's like actually coming back or whatever, people were really excited. And I'm just looking at this whole thing and like, y'all do realize that Bo's dead, right? So let's look at it this way. This is what fans want versus this is what fans get. Fans wanted Stefano. Fans got Jake. Fans want Bo. Fans is probably going to get something else that's not Bo. I don't want to sit there and be a party pooper. I really don't. But I just don't feel like fans are going to get what they want. Now I could be wrong. I really could. But I don't really see how. And I feel like it's going to be one of those things that when it happens, people are going to be like, oh, this is BS. Da 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 da. I thought I was going to get back Bo. Da, 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 da. And it's like, well, you do realize that he was dead, right? So what was you going to sit there and do? Just rewrite history? I feel like if you just bring a character back from the dead and it's not really good, I feel like you just kind of cheapen their death in the first place. You know? A lot of times with these characters' death, it brings so much to the table, like as far as changing the way, like it's impactful and it's meaningful because we grow to care about the character so much. So when they die, it really hits. Um, that's why I never really understood. Even now, I never really understood like when they just decided to bring them back as a twin. It was like, what? And I get it to some extent. Sometimes they think it's a good idea to carry the character off, and they're like, "Oh no, people actually really like this character back. Let's bring Colin back as Troy. Let's bring I don't know. Let's bring Silas back as Finn because what are y'all doing? We love Michael Easton. You can't just do that." And I feel like it's going to be sort of the same thing in this case, except for it's going to be like my first analogy of what fans want versus what fans get. Anyway, with that being said, I'm going to go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe. Let me know your thoughts on the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.